Perloff, you have an against the grain. Shall we get to that?
Please.
Let's go.
Against the grain.
Okay, this is not original because I've said it before, but now I have to reiterate it, and I mean it times 1,000. ESPN's Tim Bontemps does an amazing job. Every year he does 2 or 3 straw polls of NBA MVP voters and ranks where he thinks it'll end up. Guess who's number 1 this year in Tim Bontemps' latest poll? It was Jason Tatum in December, but a new player has risen to the top.
I think I know who it is.
Who?
2-time MVP Nikola Jokic.
Yes. That dude is going to win another MVP, his 3rd in a row.
Yeah.
And I ask you, what happened to the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs last year?
They lost to the Warriors.
In how many games? 5 in round 1. I mean, come on.
The Warriors did go on to win the title. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If he's the NBA MVP, if he's the most valuable player in the NBA, and I know it's a regular season award and they vote the regular season, doesn't he have to be good enough to get his team to the finals at least once in this 3 MVP run? There is no, I wouldn't vote for him in a million years. I don't care if he goes Will Chamberlain and scores 50 points a game. He's obviously not the most valuable player. Obviously. Because the Nuggets have not won a single thing.
Okay, but the most valuable player, where he didn't have a lot of help around him, couldn't beat the best team. It ended up being the Warriors as the best team. They lost to the eventual champs. That doesn't mean anything to you?
Nothing.
It also is a regular season award.
He lost in 5 games in the first round.
But he didn't have anybody around him either.
Okay, I know it's a regular season award, so everyone says, that's what everyone on Twitter said to me, it's a regular season award. They don't call it the regular season MVP. They call it the NBA MVP.
But they vote on it before the playoffs start.
They might, but they have to realize that they just voted for this dude twice in a row, and he flamed out in the playoffs. You have to consider that, don't you? If you're a voter, are you really going to vote for him one more time? He's going to be a 3-time MVP voter who can't get out of the second round except for the bubble year?
Well, I mean, I think the Nuggets could be set up to go to the finals this year. The Western Conference is really bunched together, and they're finally, knock on wood, healthy.
Unfortunately, you're just not that good. He's not really the most valuable player. He's a numbers here. He's averaging a triple-double.
Yeah.
He's basically a 7-foot-tall Russell Westbrook with a much better shot. I just don't think he doesn't play any defense. I don't think that style is going to win. That ball-dominant sort of Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic style is not going to win in the playoffs. The team that moves the ball around and spreads out these numbers is going to beat him.
Okay, but
and he's going to lose again this year.
But Jokic gets praised all the time for what a great passer he is.
I know, but the same dumb voters who voted for Russell Westbrook at MVP are going to vote for Jokic 3 times in a row because they just see these gaudy numbers when that's clearly not what wins championships in the NBA.
Okay, so in your opinion, then, should Steph Curry be winning it every year? Like, who should be winning? Because LeBron James doesn't win every year.
There's only 3 players in the last 12 years, I think, who should have won the MVP.
LeBron,
Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. I do not care about
Kevin Durant couldn't won 1 playoff series in Brooklyn. How is he an MVP by your standards?
Over the last 12 years.
Oh, well, he joined a super team. He doesn't get the credit for that.
Well, he's still good enough, honestly, and we'll see him this year in Phoenix. He's a much better player than Jokic.
Well, he also, now he's on a great team, too.
No, I mean, how about that time that he carried the Nets to basically 7 games with the Bucks with 4 G Leaguers around him? That was the most impressive playoff series he's ever had.
Well, he did have Harden. Harden happened to be hurt in that series, but he did play.
Oh, did he?
He played most of the series.
Well, I mean, honestly, exactly. That's like a guy a batter who's about to go up having a donut around his bat. Playing with Harden is an incredible achievement. Harden won the MVP, and he's not in the top 25 players in the NBA.
Well, okay, so I think maybe the question is it the fact that you do have a problem with Jokic in his game? You've said this before.
He's great, but he's not a championship kind of player.
Okay, but maybe then your real problem is with the award in itself.
No, my real problem is the way they vote for the wrong guy every year.
Okay, well, then your beef is with the media, not with the player.
Well, yes, they're voting for the wrong people. They should vote for the guy who they think contributes the most, who's really the most valuable player in the NBA.
You don't think Giannis deserved those 2 MVPs? He did get to a finals, but before he got the second MVP, he hadn't been to the finals.
I have no problem with Giannis because he won the title.
And he won the title, obviously.
Yes, although honestly, I'm not sure Giannis was more valuable. I can't remember. Was he up against a good Curry and KD year, or was he before that?
No, he was up against a hurt KD year.
Yeah, so Giannis is okay. He's a little better than Jokic because at least he plays defense. But you have to be a championship caliber player. Honestly, I just think the NBA and all the writers are caught up on the wrong things.
But here's the thing: when they vote for the award, is the day, I believe it's the day after the season ends, the regular season. So you don't know if you're voting for a championship person yet.
But you do know it fell flat the 2 years before. You have to consider that.
Okay, but I also think, don't you have to give a little grace to guys? It's tough to win your first title, and Jokic is 27 years old. It's not like he's been in the league for years and years, and he's this perennial loser.
But he's won 2 MVPs already.
I know, but he still could be a champion. Like Giannis won his second MVP and then went on to win the title.
I think when you're looking at MVP, you got to look at the player. If he played that year, who's most likely to win a title? And I don't think a lot of voters, honestly, in an honest moment, think that's Joker. I think they think other guys could be more effective. Honestly.
Yeah, but then you're only voting for the same guys. Probably, well, they're voting for Joker over and over again. But like, would you have put Jason Tatum in an MVP conversation before they got to the finals this year?
Nope. Now I will, though.
Okay, but now, so like that's like a chicken or the egg thing. Like, the finals have to come first before you can even get into the possible MVP voting.
Yeah, so what's wrong with that?
So Steve Nash should not have his 2.
See, those were 2 of the most ridiculous MVPs I've ever seen in my life, because that was all Mike D'Antoni's system that everybody put up huge numbers. There's no way Nash should have won over Shaq. That was an absolute joke. And by the way, I think I'm not alone on that. There are a lot of people who look back at that year when Nash scored 15 points a game and Shaq just dominated the whole league.
Yeah.
I honestly think you should not vote for Joker, and I don't think he's going to win. I think people are going to come around to this
and have fatigue. So so this year, Steph Curry is hurt. KD just demanded a trade, and listen.
No, he's out. Curry, LeBron, and KD are too old now. It's going to come down to Embiid, Giannis, and Joker, and maybe Tatum gets in there, and maybe Luka. But I think that they're going to be tempted by.
Do you think Luka Doncic plays a winning style of basketball?
No, not at all. But I think
I was going to say, yet somehow he should be in the running.
No, I don't like this high usage European. Like I watched James Harden, for example, the other day, and this is the end of my rant. It was a close game against the Cavs.
Yeah, they were up by 25 the whole game and then let it go.
Okay, they needed a basket desperately at the end. James Harden comes down, dribbles the entire 24-second clock, then takes a step back 3. The kind of stuff Luka does all the time, too. That is garbage basketball. You cannot win that way. You can win an MVP, but you're not going to win a title, Maggie. I'm done.
Okay, rant over. Do you agree with Perloff? I don't really have a problem with it. If you're great in the regular season, that's what the award is. Like,
that's not really what the award is.
They should give they don't call it the regular season MVP. Of the playoffs award. Now that's basically just your finals MVP. But it never really works out like that.
Dirk Nowitzki won an MVP early in his career, and then they flamed out early.
And they lost in the first round the next year.
Yeah, and then he won the title in a year that he didn't get any MVP love because he disappointed the voters in the postseason. I think that's the way it should be.
Wow. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Now, if Jokic does win a third MVP in a row, it would be some pretty exclusive company. There's only been 3 other players in the NBA who have ever done 3 in a row, I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's been Wilt Chamberlain, it's been Bill Russell, and it's been Larry Bird.
Man, what did those 3 have in common that the Joker does not have?
Well, you know.
A lot of NBA Finals trips.
That's true. 855-212-4CBS. Let's go to John, who's in Wisconsin, listening to us on 1250. What's up, John?
Hey, what's up, guys? Perloff, I think you're so close with your Joker take, and I agree. It's not just because I like Giannis, but I agree he should not be the MVP. It's not a championship style that he has, and I think that the MVP is sort of it should extend into the playoffs and all of that. But then you made a comment that, well, he doesn't play much defense, right? Well, that shouldn't just be that shouldn't be a side comment. And every time we have this discussion for media talking heads, it's always like they throw in, and he plays defense. Defense is like 50%. There's a reason why your first point about him not playing championship basketball is because of defense. Offense wins in the regular season. You get into the postseason, the teams that clamp down, and Joker is a bottom 100 one-on-one defender. So it has to be a massive part of the conversation. That's my point.
Well,
John,
one thing, though.
Great point. Thanks for making it.
John, I hate to say it, Embiid could steal it from Giannis if that's the case, because Giannis is playing greater defense, but Embiid's a force on defense.
I agree with you there, and I think if it was between Giannis and Embiid, I'm okay with Giannis ceding it to Embiid because Embiid is fantastic. But Joker being heads and tails above Giannis, who is potentially the best two-way player in the world, is just a joke, in my opinion.
John noted, and I don't know, I can't say it's a joke, but I think that John brings up the great point, which is we do kind of throw in ON defense when maybe we should focus on it a lot more.
Yeah.
I like this one from Thomas in the chat's got a point for you.
Okay.
Your point is, he said, here's an argument in Perloff's favor. LeBron hasn't won in the last 10 years. Do you mean to say he wasn't the best in the NBA even once during that time? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's like Michael Jordan didn't win a lot of MVPs. Fatigue, you don't want to vote for the same guy. Which is funny because they wouldn't vote for LeBron because they got tired of it. But they're going to vote for Joker every year?
I think there's something about that NBA community, the NBA media community, that just appreciates this. And it was like Steve Nash, the passing. The
slow white guys? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't think Nash was slow, but just like the passing and all in his offensive skill set.
Yeah, but that was all D'Antoni. Nash did nothing without D'Antoni. I mean, everybody. Sean Marion scored like 23 points a game. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that MVP. Why did they like Westbrook? Why did they like Harden? It was the same thing as Joker. These big, gaudy numbers that just really aren't accurate.
I'll agree with you. I thought Embiid got hosed last year. I thought it should have been Embiid.
I thought it was about a tie between the two. I don't think Embiid's a championship-winning player either. He turns the ball over way too much.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on that conversation. Perloff going against the grain. Jokic, no third MVP for that guy, according to
Is that against the grain, by the way? Because 3 in a row seems like a lot for that guy.
I think a lot of people love Jokic.